What's happening, everyone, and welcome to Internet Dads. Delighted to say that I'm joined by Spencer.
Hello.
Spencer.
Rory.
How are you?
I'm good. You know what? I'm absolutely knackered, which is normally how you start an episode, but it's not because of children.
No, yours is for a reason that's brilliant. It's aspirational. You've got the endorphins flowing.
I have, but I think it's now they've gone back down and now I just feel tired. But I've just played football for the first time in a year.
Symbolic.
Which is mad for me.
Pivotal moment.
I used to play football 4 times a week, basically for my whole 20s. Last time I played football was with you at the Den, of all places, Millwall Stadium, basically a year ago. It was a fellas' game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I just had a terrible... I know this isn't strictly related to being parents, but
this is so dad chat.
Isn't it?
This is so dad chat.
Because I've got dodgy knees.
Yeah, I'm back playing football. How is it? I'm injured. I'm seeing a physio.
Yeah, very much so.
It's such dad chat, this. And I find so much of my later years, like, you know, when people talk about, did you enjoy your teens? Did you enjoy your 20s? I did, but it's got better for me every decade. I've enjoyed every decade a bit more. The one thing that I really don't enjoy is just the lack of mobility, the effort, the pain, the aches, the pains. Again, like you, I just play football. Like, I used to play a game on a Monday morning and a Monday night, 2 different games. There's an actors game and a Monday morning that's still going, and I still play in it. It's when I can. I haven't played.
Is this the one with the Tesco end?
The Tesco end, the famous Tesco end in North London. Yeah, there's a Friday and a Monday game. The Monday I used to do Monday morning, again all actors, and then there was a Monday night game which was like my mates Power League type thing. Used to do them both. Didn't think twice about it.
I bet the diving in the actors game's a nightmare. Serious histrionics.
It was a very precious game. Yeah. We didn't have a kit. We had a costume.
I like it. Yeah. No, after we played that game at the Den last year, it was a bad decision from me and from Theo Baker, who ended up getting injured. Remember, he was really worried about Soccer Aid. Because we'd played on the Friday up at Elland Road for one of Theo's games we did. 90 minutes for me at 35 at the time. And then played again on the Monday, knowing I've got this dodgy knee, this meniscus tear, did it. And basically, the next few months after that, and I'm not someone that's traditionally ever had injury issues at all, but the next few months after that, my knee was in bits. I ended up seeing West Ham's old physio, because he lives near me, and he actually sorted me out, to be honest with you. I haven't played football for a year, but I've done it properly, but I've been rehabbing it. My legs are not the strongest. I've been skipping leg day for 2 decades, so I've stopped skipping leg day. I've actually made my legs a lot stronger, and touch wood, I just played football and I feel fine right now.
Fine, still upright.
Yeah, and I'm not going to go mad on it, because football is just a really bad game for your joints and things when you get older.
Yeah.
I just love it. I love playing football so much.
It's the anchor, isn't it? Like, do you know, that game that is there's a Monday and a Friday. The Friday game, genuinely, it was my anchor through my entire. It's the one thing that I've had the biggest commitment to in my entire life.
Yeah.
So I've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
There's nothing that I do today that
probably longer than 20 years now.
I've been doing
30 years plus. Oh, you mean that game?
That specific game. I ended up playing that game because I did an episode of Doctor Who in 05, 06, something like that. The husband, the lady who played my mum, her husband was a playwright, runs that football team. So I joined that football team in 06.
Wow.
And I'm still a member of that.
That's very cool.
Nothing else. It shows you what an anchor football can be.
Yeah.
The importance of sport, team sport, like the unity that it brings, because there is literally nothing that I was doing 20 years ago that I'm still doing today apart from that.
It's so true. And football's such an incredibly diverse game. You know, we're both people that have played football but made careers not from the playing of football, but from talking about it and doing other things. And all the things I've done have mostly been around football and have allowed me to do that. So there's lots of different ways you can experience it. You know, you can be a gamer, you can be a collector, you can be a fan, you can be a commentator, you can be a physio. But for me, even as someone who runs a club and all these things, nothing gets close to the actual playing of football. I'd always want to play over any other version of football, if that makes sense. That probably sounds obvious to a lot of people, but there are a lot of football fans whose experience of football is different.
And I'm never letting the dream die either, Spence. Like, I still truly believe I will score a winner for England at a World Cup. I'm never ever ready to say that won't happen. Like, I'm always, you know how David Beckham has never retired from international football. If England say they need him, he's there.
Yeah.
I'm like that.
Keep the door open.
I'm like that for both Chelsea and for England. I will never, ever say that I'm not going to score the winner in the FA Cup final for Chelsea against Tottenham.
No, I think it's good for you to keep your options open. You know, there's multiple avenues you could go down. You don't have to say what kind of football.
Exactly.
You know, it could be walking football. I don't know.
Exactly, yeah.
But no, for me, you know, when it comes to the actual playing of football, and there's a couple other things I get it from. I think I get it from jiu-jitsu in the same way. And a few other things. It's just, for me, as someone who is quite neurotic, it's just getting out of your own head. And this is why I don't really like golf. And my brother's obviously golf mad. Doesn't do it for me because it's the opposite. You don't get put in a pressure environment enough in golf where you can get out your own head. You're too in your own head, if anything, in golf. You have too much time to think. I like to be put, so jiu-jitsu, for example, you have no time to think because someone is trying to kill you. Yeah. And if you think, you're dead, right? And then with football, it's not so, you know, dangerous as that, but it's constantly moving and you're talking and you're making things happen. It's fast-paced. That's why I like squash, for example.
Paddle? Does that do it for you?
Paddle, yes. Paddle's a little bit slower paced, I'd say. It's a bit more casual, but there's social things to that I enjoy. Yeah. But in terms of getting out my own brain, which does annoy me sometimes, football, jiu-jitsu, squash is good for it because it's very quick.
Is it all sport for you? Because I think you're right. It is very important to be able to at least suspend the rigorous pressures that you feel both as a businessman and also as a dad. Like, this is very much in keeping with being a parent. Everybody listening to this who is a parent will certainly empathise with the pressures of parenthood. I think it's very important for everybody who's involved here to have that release, to have that opportunity to release the pressure of parenthood.
Yeah.
Do you only find it in sport? Is sport the only avenue that you can go down where for an hour and a half, 70 minutes, whatever it will be, you literally think about the sole thing that you're doing? You are playing football. Your entire reason is to score goals and to stop them scoring goals. And you're not thinking about the tax bill you have to pay, the guy at #United who needs to be sorted out, the fixture congestion that you've got, the issues with schooling. Like, you're not thinking about any of those things. Like, when I watch TV, for example, I can be watching TV, I can be engrossed in the film, I could be in the cinema watching the new Bridget Jones, for example. I'm also thinking, probably need to do this for YouTube, probably need to do this preparation for TalkSport. I'm watching the film, I'm enjoying the film, but I'm not focused. Football is the only time that I'm actually only playing football. I'm not dad, I'm not a business, I'm literally playing football.
Yeah, I think that my issues are actually less about parenthood in regards to that. I've always needed football for those reasons long before I was a dad. I think for me, and to be honest with you, I don't actually fixate on the sort of everyday issues. I don't fixate on like having a to-do list that's long or, you know, things I've got to do. And I actually think becoming a parent's probably helped me with that because it does give you so many like things you need to get done, which actually has similar effects. It's not as good as football. It's not as good as doing something that's so sort of fast-paced, but it allows me just to... I contemplate like philosophical things and neurotic things. They're not really about the day-to-day. It's about like happiness and am I happy and all these things. These bigger sort of questions that actually I'd say becoming a dad's probably helped me with a little bit because I think we've talked about it before. When you just got to get stuff done and like, you know, something's going on and you've got to step up and do something for your kids or whatever, like that does silence those thoughts because you just haven't got time to think about that. It's actually a little bit of a sort of first world problem in a way. If you have the luxury of thinking about
if you can be existential, you're quite privileged.
You've probably got food and shelter and you're not worried about those things. And that's, you know, and that's not even a YouTube thing. It's really just my parents, you know, allowed me to have that, if you like. And this is why I probably, when I have those sort of existential crises, I don't really have anything to relate to my parents about in those conversations because they're just like, what are you talking about? Just crack on, lad. Yeah. Because they just have a different upbringing. But anyway, no, played football, very much enjoyed it. You've played with me. I only sort of have one speed when I play, and it's very much gung-ho, very lippy, and just like, even in the game we play, which is just with the boys, you know, it's just fun. It's literally not competitive at all. I still only have one speed, and I would like to change that. And I think
You'll never change it.
I think I'd have a longer like runway of playing football into old age if I can chill out a little bit. But I also think it wouldn't have that same... It wouldn't do the same job for my brain if I didn't just go all in.
I don't think you can ever change that. And to be totally frank, mate, I don't think you should even want to. I think it's you.
I'm trying to get better at being more constructive with it. I remember we played a YouTube game probably 2 years ago, and it was down in where we play. And we had, I'm going to say, in fact, he's Yeah, he's someone that, we're all very familiar with. George Clark was playing. Lovely guy, by the way. He scored a Sidemen game recently. I commentated on it. I have a lot of time from good footballer as well. He was in goal for us. And, like we all have to do a little stint in goal. And he was just conceding a few. Like we all do. I'm not special in goal at all. And he was like, getting to that crux point of the game. And I can't stress enough, these games are not important.
They mean nothing.
They mean nothing. But I am just this way built, right? I'm engineered this way. So Clarkie's let like a third or fourth goal in a row. And I just went like, bloody hell, Clarkie, do you want to bloody save one? And like, because I'd probably been like that a whole game, Will and he just turns around and he goes, Spencer, wind your fucking neck in.
Did he?
And you know what?
Yeah.
At the time, I was fuming, genuinely. And when I actually did wind my neck in, afterwards, I actually sent Will a message and was like, thank you for telling me to wind my neck in because I can't control myself.
Yeah.
And I actually think I've got a little bit better since then. But honestly...
That's a coming of age moment in itself.
Yeah, it only took me to 35.
Yeah. Yeah. There's no age limit on growth, though.
No, I just think that I literally had to fight. I got into football late. I was not the best at first, and I had to really fight to get good and get into teams. And then when I did catch people up, I was just built that way. And I always end up being the captain or the manager or whatever because I just take it so serious. Yeah. I think there's strong suits to...
I think it's a really good quality. Annoying. I mean, you know how you're saying that you want to try and neutralise it a touch? I don't think you should. It makes you who you are. It's why you
just needs to be more constructive. I'm better. I've had a year off. And today I think I...
How did you behave today?
Toed the line all right.
What happened? You behaved well?
My little brother played, Saunders, and I had a little go at him at one point, but it was constructive again. It wasn't like...
Did your team win?
Well, we did win the sort of the pre-games, but then when you do the next goal wins, Hackney scored the winner, so... Right. Standard. But no, it's all good. It was nice to get back out there. I will try and keep it up. And like, I think it's really important to have that release, like you said, whether it's football or something else. A good friend of mine who we've talked about a few times in this pod, ex-hashtag player, Rich Beck, he actually does something quite interesting, which is this thing he does called the Wednesday Waffle, where him and his pals, he started doing it with me, he'll send me like a 2-minute video, selfie camera of him just unloading on what he's been up to that week. And it might be like, I had a bit of a struggle at work this week, or, it's really sort of honest and open and vulnerable. And he does it with his pals, and one of his pals who I know well, I think just got divorced and all these sorts of things. And the first time he did it, it's sort of invitations to me one back. And I weirdly, for someone who's made a career on social media, I felt really weird just sitting there filming myself, sending a video to my mate, almost like your first reaction is, what's he going to do with the video?
Where did he put this? Is he put it out?
Oh no,
it's just to his friends. It's not right.
That's what I'm saying. I felt weird about it because it's like, it's not like when me and you, we're doing this on camera now, but if me and you were having a chat in a coffee shop, it's just our chat. Yeah. And you make it a video and you send it, it's like, oh, that's out there now. But obviously I trust him. And so we've done a few videos back and forth, and we have this, me and you, we have this outlet now and other things, but some people don't.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite a good way, whether it's football, taking the time to send a message to your mates, check in on your pals. You need it. Yeah. You need it. But one thing we want to talk about today, and it does sort of link to this, and like, some of the frustrations, or you've talked about like when you're in the trenches, we've got 2 young kids. A lot of people would say we're in it now.
It's where I live now. The trenches is no longer the trenches. The trenches is just home.
You just live you're a Normandy lad.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, there's a famous singer called Chappell Roan. Are you familiar with her?
No, never heard of.
I might not even be saying her name right. Is it Chappell? I don't know. I know who she is only because someone told me about her. I have listened to some of her songs. She's very sort of 80s, almost like Kate Bush. Like, I actually rate some of them.
I rate Kate Bush incredibly highly. Running Up That Hill has got to be one of the best songs.
The best version of that is Alan Partridge's version, which she did. You've seen that in the live show. Running Up That Hill.
Yes.
Chappell Roan has got some bangers if you're into that sort of pop vibe, I'd say. But more importantly, she's recently gone on one of the biggest podcasts in the world called Her Daddy, and she's obviously got talking about kids. And she said some things, and I want us to analyse it a little bit, unpack it a bit. She's basically said that she doesn't know any happy parents. She said that having kids is hellish, and her interpretation is that basically most parents are not enjoying it. She says, all my friends who have kids are in hell, and she doesn't know anyone who's happy and has children at this age. I'm probably talking about young kids. Well, she's 27, it's worth being said. So she's talking about like sort of age. So if you're 27, you've got kids, you've probably got young kids as well. And that is the hardest part for sure, but we'll unpack it. She says, I've literally not met anyone who is happy, anyone who has light in their eyes, or anyone who has slept. So
one of the 3 is true.
I mean, she's obviously basically saying this is not an uncommon stance now. That she doesn't know if she wants kids, I guess. She maybe doesn't want them because her analysis of it looks rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, look, on some level, I have no idea who this woman is, but on some level, what she's saying is true. On one level, but it's very important to understand that this is like having children is very, very layered, very complex. It isn't like one answer. On one level, she's completely correct. People haven't slept. They are struggling. Things are harder. Some things are rubbish. Like, I went out to a restaurant with my 2 children. It was rubbish. Like, it would have been better if they weren't there. Like, just totally honest. But she's so wrong. Overall, she's so wrong. There are experiences that are obviously not enhanced by having a 5-year-old there. There are obviously those circumstances. But that doesn't mean that your life isn't enhanced. And I think it's a wild thing. Look, she's presumably famous. Is she famous?
No, she's pretty big.
Pretty
big.
Right, okay.
So, sort of like, she's probably touching on Sabrina Carpenter level big, I'd say.
Don't know who that is. Who's that?
It's another kind of pop.
But can you
princess.
you have to make references that I will understand? Like, what are we talking here? Like,
No,
Gloria Estefan?
No, she's probably like of the time. She's probably like
Tina Turner?
right now, like Miley Cyrus was 10 years.
Oh, Miley
ago.
Cyrus,
like
yeah,
10
yeah.
years ago.
Okay, I got a lot of
She's
time
quite
for Miley
new.
Cyrus.
She's come through in probably the last year or so.
Miley Cyrus does excellent covers of a lot of songs. Worth listening to. And Miley Cyrus.
What's her stance on kids?
What's her stance on children? I don't know.
Well, she's obviously a daughter of a famous. She's Billy Ray Cyrus.
Billy Ray, yeah.
So that would have affected her. And
Yeah.
She's had some funny moments, but I mean,
But this is so dumb, and I know this is how the world is now. You've got some really famous, presumably self-righteous, moneyed superstar, Hollywood superstar, telling the world that they know what it's all about.
well, ultimately, my interpretation is, first of all, you've got to do what's right for you. You know, if you were to boil down my life motto or whatever into one sort of thing, it would just be do what you want, and as long as you're not hurting anyone. So if she doesn't want kids, and her interpretation of what she sees is that kids doesn't look fun, she didn't do it. She shouldn't do it. Definitely not. I would never sit here and tell someone they're wrong for that.
No, but it's painting the whole of parenthood as a painful, awful experience, which is so wrong.
But that will be because she's coming from a place of not wanting them. Do you know what I mean? So like, if you want kids, if you feel this internal desire, and like, it's a spectrum of people as to whether you do or don't, then when you see something that's hard, you're going to feel differently about it. It would be like the equivalent of, we both like poker at the moment, right? So we know if we want to get really good at poker, we've got a lot of work to do, right? You've got a lot these days. Poker players, they study. The question is, does that put you off? If you really want to be a good poker player, you wouldn't think twice about it. You would just do the work, and you'd look at it as a challenge. If you don't really want to do it, you go, that looks awful. So really what it is it's emblematic of how she feels about having kids.
Yeah.
And she sees the evidence.
She's 27 years old.
She's 27 years old.
27. I imagine that at some point in the next decade, you will tell me that, what was her name again?
Chappell Roan.
You will tell me that Chappell Roan is a doting mother of 3 children. That's how I
there's a very good chance.
the future happens.
Yeah, maybe not. But what I think as well is it's actually quite a good. It's evidence of just the movement in society towards a slightly more individualistic way of life. So I don't think having kids is harder now. Personally, I don't think it's hard. I think having kids has always been hard, right? I think what's different is that we want more.
No, it's so much harder now. Don't you think?
I don't think so.
I think it's
our kids, our parents didn't have all these screens to put us in front of. How much, even though we're all conscious of it, how much screen time are our kids having?
No,
because it helps.
I honestly think it's so much harder now. Screen makes it easier in one way, but it makes it so much harder in another, as we've discussed.
Yeah, when they're older, but
yeah, like that makes it hard. I'd also say now, like, say when I was growing, the vast majority of people my generation, my mum had me and her mum lived around the corner. That's kind of how
we've lost the village.
We've lost the village.
Yeah,
a child takes a village to raise a child. That's kind of gone.
Yeah, that's true. That comes back to my point about the individualisticness of society now, right? So we were talking earlier about my kind of fixation on some of the neuroses and things of life, and a lot of it is about happiness, right? So I made this promise to myself when I was a teenager that I was just going to do what makes me happy, and I was going to, if anything made me unhappy, I wasn't going to do it. And it was simple as that, and I used that as a rule of life for a long time. And what actually happened to me when I got to my sort of late 20s, in fact, not that different to the age that Chappell Roan is I actually realised that is a bad mentality. Because if you constantly, and there's books I've read about this, there's a book called The Pursuit of Happiness, which is by a woman called Ruth Whitman, who actually went and met an English lady, but she was living in San Francisco at the time, and I was there, and I actually hit her up and went and met with her and interviewed her and made a video of her. And
it's in the Constitution, isn't it? The pursuit of happiness.
well, yeah. So she's writing it from an English perspective, but it's essentially talking about we're so aware that we need to be happy now. Again, first world problem. Even you can think about being happy, but that fixation on being happy is the thing that's keeping us miserable. Because if you're like constantly thinking, this is literally, I have first-hand experience of this. If you're constantly thinking about whether you're happy or not, you won't be happy because you'll always think about the grass is always greener. What else could I be doing? The question of life is not to pursue happiness, it's to pursue peace. It's to pursue a peace of mind, right? So when you have this pursuit of happiness mentality like I did, and then you actually do achieve some things, and I'm not saying I achieved, the biggest things in the world,
no, you
but
don't
I had some success.
That. You've obviously achieved
I had some success in what I was trying to achieve success in, right? For whatever reason that was. And when you do that, and there's evidence all over the world for this. How many pop stars, actors are we seeing die of drug overdoses or kill themselves, or all these things, right? Because it isn't what it's cracked up to be. And we just don't listen. We just don't listen to the advice. So I believe I had a gift in my late 20s where I actually started to feel this way. I started to feel I've actually achieved some stuff and it hasn't fixed me. I'm not solved. The rest of my life isn't just clean sailing, because you always have to have a mountain to climb. You always have to have a thing. But my point of I know I'm going around the houses here, but if you talk about her perspective, my opinion is that I'm not saying she's wrong, but her interpretation of life right now is that it is that pursuit of happiness. She's got a mission she wants to achieve and all these things. And that's fine. But what happens when you get there? Because when you get there, you may struggle. I'm speaking from experience here. And what kids is an amazing thing for, if you think about it, is actually you put the hard work in. And like anything that's good in life, right, it comes from hard work. Anything. I've just installed my ice bath at home, and that is the best example of it. Ice baths are minging and they're horrible. And they're hard work every single time you do it. But when you get out, it's such a good decision, right? You don't get that feeling by sitting and eating chocolate and just pursuing, the enjoyment of life. You have to get the beauty of it. So if you only ever make decisions like she's saying, that looks not fun, so I'm not going to do it, which is exactly how I operated, then you'll never get that gift of accomplishment, achievement. I'm not saying she hasn't achieved great things. She has, but they're very individualistic goals. And you cannot buy the feeling of creating life and knowing that you've nurtured it.
What do you get? It feels like a very weird avenue that she's adopting here, because it feels like she's looking at parenthood as a what's in it for me attitude. And if that is your outlook, if you have, and the word selfish has such negative connotations. I don't mean selfish in a sort of insulting way, but if you prioritize yourself and you only want to ever prioritize yourself, then maybe she's like this and therefore she shouldn't have children.
I think there's a lot of people in the world right now that shouldn't have kids.
But what do you get? What do they give you? What do they bring to your life? How do they enhance you as a person? And all of those things. Children are a gift and a very generous one. Like the two things that they will 100% bring: love, like reciprocal love, a side to you that you didn't know existed, and an openness within you that you didn't know was there, a generosity of spirit that you didn't know was there, a total selflessness that will suddenly be provoked within you. Like there was literally nothing I wouldn't do for either of my children. Literally nothing.
I truly believe that I evolved when I became a child.
And that's an awakening within me, and it's a gift that I can have that. I know. And the other thing that it brings, so it brings love, but it also brings purpose.
Yes.
Like, what's the point in what's the point in grafting? What's the point in trying to build? What's the point in a really, really almost aggressive way? What's the point in you if you don't have that? Like, I know that's not going to chime with a lot of people, and I know that's going to sound quite hostile to anybody listening to this who either doesn't have or doesn't want children. But I can only speak to it from my own point of view. If I didn't have Victoria and my two daughters, what the fuck is the point? Like, seriously.
No, it's completely apt. I mean, the world is going this direction. We are having less children as a population, certainly in this part of the world. And I think that is because of the fixation on individual goals. I think some of that is probably wrapped up in the economy. I don't think that's a problem for Chappell Roan, but a lot of people are actually worried about having bigger families.
When we were talking about, my argument was that it was easier to be a parent in 1983 than it is in 2023, say. The economy and basically everyone had somewhere to live. Everyone had a house then.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking away from that.
No one has one in London now.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I just think that it's very important. I said this to a friend of mine recently. When you want advice on something, or when you want to make a big decision in life, it's very important that you're around the right people. And for me, the right people aren't people with loads of money. They aren't people that have power or whatever you would class as success. They're people that are enjoying their life, people that are walking around and seem to have a peace of mind and a happiness. And that doesn't mean you want to do the same thing as them, but you want to learn how they've achieved that. They're the people I look up to. And there are parents like that. Like the people that she's probably surrounding herself with, I would imagine, are probably very go-getter, like, you know, got to go and achieve. So when you have kids, it does slow that down a little bit, and it does maybe knock you for six. And maybe those parents that she's spending time with are thinking, bloody hell, this is hard. I still don't think they'll regret it. I still think you'll find when they get through that and they're older and then they have these adult children, it'll be the best thing they ever did. But they're in the trenches right now. But there are also people that love being parents. There are people that love even the hardest bits. Yes, there is down moments, but they still would not change it for the world.
I feel like that.
Yeah, I 100%
genuinely feel like that.
I honestly don't, like, my biggest doubt about having kids happened before I had them. Before I had them, I had to think about it. I was in a completely different place. I looked at it completely wrongly. I looked at it as a really selfish thing to have kids because I was like, it seemed like an egotistical thing where you get to a certain age and you're like, this is why I was interested in adopting, right? Because there's all these problems in the world. Like, people need help. Why aren't we solving them first? Why do we, this is what I thought. I don't think this now necessarily, but why don't we, why don't we fix a problem that exists in the planet rather than just have our new kid? Because the world doesn't need my offspring. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking objectively here.
Yeah,
the idea that you're I need to mate with someone. The world needs my genes to continue because I'm so good. I felt was a very egotistical thing. And actually, there's all these people that need help for millions of reasons. They haven't got a parent figure, and we can be that for someone. So that still excites me massively. What I think I missed, and because I was in that hamster wheel, individual success chasing mentality, I thought of everything from that egocentric perspective. But actually what I missed is it's a part of the human experience. Yes, definitely want to help other children, and I hate seeing them in stress. But if you don't have your own kids, if you're lucky enough to be able to, and you want to, these are all caveats that are important, you are fundamentally missing out something on the human experience if you don't understand and allow yourself to evolve into parenthood. It is part of it. And it doesn't mean the people that don't have kids are wrong, but if you want to live the full experience of humankind, that's part of it.
Yeah, I completely agree. And we're going back now to the quotes from Chappell Roan, who's basically said nobody's happy or whatever. I mean, that's just obviously nonsense.
Well, she's surrounding herself maybe with the wrong people.
She's surrounding. It's also incredibly conceited, isn't it? It's incredibly conceited to effectively label everyone in one particular way.
Well, I just think it is you can focus on the wrong parts of her quote. The reality of it is she doesn't want kids, and there's nothing wrong with that. But she's not seen any evidence to make her want kids, and that's fine. My takeaway from that is you definitely shouldn't have kids.
Yeah.
Certainly not at this period of your life.
Yeah.
But, and this is the thing, right? We've got to be careful what we do here, because you know what it's like when you're that level of famous, right? I haven't seen the clip. It might have been an offhand comment. It might have been, do you know what I mean? And so I'm not got any judgment towards her at all. I think she makes good music. Good luck to her.
No, she has now been demoted to my least favourite celebrity ginger. I've seen a photo.
Who was top before that?
Oh, Amy Adams. I like a touch of the rouge. Amy Adams, number one.
Who's your least favourite or your favourite?
She's now my least favourite because of these quotes. I'm offended. Amy Adams, number one.
Right.
Jessica Chastain, big fan.
Isla Fisher,
absolutely. Julianne Moore.
Dead ringer for Amy Adams, isn't she? Really?
Yeah, Amy Adams. I've got a real soft spot for.
Susan Sarandon, she count?
She's dyed red. There's a huge difference.
She's not real.
No, I like a real genuine rouge strand.
Fair.
And
gingers get ill less as well. Do you know that?
Do they?
Genetically stronger.
They wouldn't get sunburnt less.
No, they get sunburned to fuck, but they are genetically. It's harder for them to get colds and viruses.
Really?
Yeah.
It's funny,
some sort of ginger force.
I don't understand, because my beard, there's a big strand of ginger in my family.
People drink ginger for health drink.
My beard really grows ginger. And,
Same.
Yeah,
Well, now
like
it's
really,
great.
really ginger.
Used to be ginger.
I don't understand how society doesn't like gingers are mocked, aren't they? They
It's
should
mad,
be
isn't it?
lauded.
Well, it's just so mad that like someone at some point decided to take the piss out of someone with red hair, and it just
I
carried
think
on.
they should be the kings. I think like
Well, they
people should
were
go,
back in
"Oh
the
my
day.
god, they've got ginger hair." Not, "Oh, he's got ginger."
Well, gingerness is like one of the true defining, depending how far back you look, characteristics of an English person. Like
Is it?
gingerness is like the
Well, it's very
true.
Celtic.
Yeah, but it's like, as in like, again, like, this is my very loose understanding of this, but you had obviously the Vikings that came over with their blonde hair and all this stuff, and that came into the gene pool. But the sort of Scottish, like whatever British Isles trait is the gingerness, and there's also a theory there. I'm not saying I believe this. There's also a theory, because I don't know if you're aware of this, Rory, but around the world, generally, English women are rated quite lowly in terms of their looks.
Are they?
This is not my words.
Is that right?
So I used to live with a Kiwi couple.
What are we?
And
are
they
we
were was
seeing-
like English women are in the.
I don't think that's true.
Right, I'm not saying it's true either.
No, I don't think
but there
it's
is
true
a
with
theory
the
about it, though.
rating.
There's a theory about it though.
Go on. What's the theory?
So, the Vikings obviously came over and they took all the fit ones.
No.
The reason that the Scandinavians, again, not my words, the reason the Scandinavians are so fit, like why when you see the Dutch, not the Dutch, sorry, the Swedes,
No,
Dutch are fit too, by the way.
No,
but
the Dutchies are
when
too
you see
tall,
when
man.
you see the Swedes and the whatever Norwegians and all these at a football game, why are all the women fit? Because they took our fit ones, mate.
No.
This is 100%.
But I think that we're
maybe
seen as
fact.
being good looking, aren't we?
No, definitely not, mate.
you
We're
sure?
seen as really ugly. We have shit teeth, shit food.
Are
we do
we?
have shit food, don't we? Let's be honest. We have shit food.
You've got the best food in the world.
No, I enjoy fish and chips.
No, we've got the
Bit of
best.
shit.
There's more Michelin stars in London.
Yeah, and what food are they serving?
I
Ain't fucking English, mate.
don't know. I've got a real soft spot for a shepherd's pie and that.
I like it.
I
I
like
like it. But in the world of view, this is the sort of echo chamber you can get yourself into. The world view
Is it?
the English
Is
ugly
that right?
shit food.
Who's
We're good at drinking.
Who's the good? Who are the? So it's the Scandinavians. The
Scandal, the
Scandies.
Vikings literally came in. They
snooze
went to a
lovers.
village. They went, yeah, we'll have you, we'll have you, we'll have you. Took them back, and they became
had a good
Swedish
looking
in all
women.
those countries and Danish, and that's
Nah.
why they're all so
Hang on a
fit.
minute. I'm thinking like
They
think of
left us the
celebrities.
mingers, mate.
Think of celebrities who've like Elizabeth Taylor. She was like the icon of the time, wasn't she? She was like Raquel
I'm not
Welch.
saying there can't be some fit ones left. I'm just saying that
I don't think that's maybe it is.
I've got to be
I think
really
we're seen
careful
as
what I say here.
boozy.
We're definitely boozy.
We're seen as
definitely
being boozy.
Yeah, we're definitely seen as boozy. Probably a bit arrogant, but we're also seen as very polite. We're seen as very.
We shouldn't be. Have you been out in London yet?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like,
Mate,
that's a city thing.
when did etiquette just become like it's
But
just
we're
gone.
overly polite. Like, oh, sorry.
Yeah,
We say sorry so much.
I'm very
Other countries
chivalrous.
don't do that. A lot of countries don't do that.
No, I'll tell you, don't do it. French.
I hate the French. I'm happy to say it. I don't hate them all,
Yeah.
but generally, when I go to Paris, it's a bunch of slugs.
Yeah, mate. Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you're from Paris and you're not a slug, then well done. You've done well to come out of that cesspit of slugs.
Yeah.
Because they are arrogant.
Mate, Waterloo, mate. Just remind them.
The problem is I have thought about this in depth. The problem is the French in France. I don't mind the French when they're out and about.
Yeah.
But once you get into Paris, mate, they don't want to see you. They're not happy for you to be there. It's like, I'm here. I'm spending money in your city, mate. You know.
Yeah. Do you know
But they
what
don't like
do,
us.
do you know who I'm a bit wary of? Aussies.
It goes both ways for me, Aussies. They can be a bit much, but I do like the crack
I
sometimes.
don't like the clothes.
I like the mullets.
I hate them.
Yeah.
I hate the clothes. I hate the fashion.
I actually think I could work in Australia.
What's the vest thing? Nobody wants that.
Well, it's hot, isn't it?
No, don't
Good
worry.
weather
Just
over there.
get dressed.
Barbecues, what's not to like? Christmas and sunshine.
You ever been there?
I've been there for a day.
You've been to Australia for one day.
Yeah, I was there for 30 hours.
What happened?
Oh, this is a good story now, actually. So this is when I presented a lot of FIFA esports over the years, and we had a gig over there. But I had another show I had to get back for, so flew in on the Friday, flew back on the Sunday morning. And
Jet lag is terrible.
do you know what's crazy about this? Right, not only is that such a missed opportunity because everyone else was having a holiday there afterwards and whatnot. I was lucky enough to be put on business class flights, obviously from the job. Both flights. Didn't get up from my seat. Didn't go to the toilet. Didn't do a single thing other than play Football Manager from start to finish. And they went like that.
You wally.
This is what I do.
You actual idiot.
I don't play it anymore because it is my heroin.
Mate,
If I play that game, you won't see me.
that is so stupid.
I have had
mate, all of the luxury that you could have had on that
I
flight.
don't think I even ate.
Oh, mate, you could have really enjoyed yourself on that plane. It would
But
have been amazing. What a
Won
gift that
the
would be
Champions
now.
League a couple of times.
Oh, mate, you're better than that.
I'm really not.
This computer game thing.
I have an addictive personality. I'm just lucky that my vices are all quite
Jiu-jitsu.
tame. My
I'm addicted
vices
to
are
jiu-jitsu.
like I'm getting into poker obviously right now, which I'm doing the right side of it in terms of the money side. But I basically get addicted to games, whether it's sports or computer games. I do play a lot less computer games now. I don't really play at all actually. But me and Alex were talking about this the other day. We were trying to think about like what, because we actually talked about changing our name at one point or like adapting our name because like it's generally the done thing that you take the man's name, but actually my kids have got my surname right now, but we've always flirted with the idea, and it's actually very relevant to the dad's thing.
Oh no, you're going to say something so woke here, aren't you?
No, we flirted with the idea of like, what do we want as our surname, whatnot. So like my surname's Carmichael Brown, right? So that's a story in itself.
Yeah, I know. I've heard about your mum. She sounds amazing.
It's not as simple as we'll just go through it if you want. We've got time.
Yeah.
Basically, long story short, my mum's maiden name was Smith. My dad's maiden name was Brown. When they got married, they became the Browns. When I was born, I was Spencer Brown. Seb was Seb Brown. When my younger brother was born, you probably heard the story before.
Yeah, your brother's told me, yeah.
My younger brother was born. My mother's family did some family tree research and found out we all came from Scotland. That's where the gingerness came from, of the beard. My mum's side came from Scotland, and they didn't used to be called the Smiths. They used to be called the Carmichaels, which is a Scottish word for like castle. And there's a whole clan of Carmichaels. There's a family emblem, everything. And I don't know the full details of this. I did do a lot of DNA research myself and look into it and sort of half like prove this. But basically, my great granddad was called Archibald Carmichael, and he committed some sort of serious crime. Beat someone up, maybe killed someone, I don't know. He was on the run from the police. He went from the Isle of Islay, which is in the Inner Hebrides of Scotland, all the way down to Devon. He basically went, it's in the late 1800s. He basically went as far as you could probably on foot to get away. And what did he do? I need to change my name. What's the most common name in the phone book? It wasn't even a phone book right then. The telegram book. Smith. So he chose the name Smith. And no one knew this for like 50, 60 years. And what was interesting is he gave all his kids the middle name Carmichael to keep the name alive.
Keep it going.
So anyway, we found that out. Mum and Dad added that back in. So they became Carmichael Brown. They deny this now, but I think because they wanted to sound more posh.
Yeah, give you a double-barrel surname.
Yeah, and that's why I never went by that name on social media, why I never used that name when I did stand-up comedy, because I felt it made us sound more posh than we were.
Yeah. What were you on stand-up? Just Spencer Brown?
Spencer Owen. No, I went to be Spencer Brown, but there was already a comic called that. It's like acting, you can't have the same name.
Yeah.
So I went with Spencer Owen, Owen being my middle name. So when it came to me and Al thinking about what is our family name going to be, we toyed with a few ideas. And, I'll be honest, I know my brothers don't feel the same way about this, but I've always just had a thing about the name. I don't know what, my name. I don't know if it's because I know it was changed when I was 3, because you have to, you go through all the thing. I always have to say my name was changed on those forms and stuff. And I don't know if it's because of that. I don't know if it's because I didn't use the name professionally for so long, whatever. I've always just never liked it. I like it more now because my kids have it. It's a bit different, but we're talking a few years ago. So me and Al were thinking about it, and I'm not a traditional person, so I didn't necessarily think we had to take my name. I didn't want Al's name, to be honest, because it's a Polish name. Her 2 brothers have kept that name alive. They've got loads of kids. Those are boys have kept that name alive. So I didn't really feel the need to add that. I definitely was up for using Polish first names for our kids, maybe, and middle names. Alex decided not to go for that.
That would have been good. You could have gone for
Dad actually said he didn't want us to, which is weird. He's like, I don't want you to.
Oh, really?
Anyway, that's another story. But the point is, we at one moment flirted with the idea of dropping the Brown, which is controversial because I was a Brown to start. Right?
Yeah. That's the original name.
And that's my dad's name as well. So I'm just thinking right, I like to do things properly. So I sit my dad down and have a conversation with him before our first child was born. I say, Dad, me and Al think about changing our name or creating a new name. And we like Carmichael. I think it's a cool word. I think it's better on its own though. So I want to just go Carmichael. And literally that was us tailoring the name that we just liked the sound of. It's nothing to do with...
So you were going to be the Carmichaels?
Yeah, it's nothing to do with my mum's side versus my dad's side, anything like that. It just sounded cooler, I thought.
Yeah.
And all the names we had for our kids we thought sounded cooler with the Carmichael. And my dad went mad.
Did he?
Which is so not... He didn't go mad. He didn't lose his temper or anything. But he was just like, if you do that, I'll be really disappointed in you. And I was like, that's not what you want to hear, right? So I knew as soon as he said that I wasn't going to do it.
You can't do that, yeah.
But I also was angry with him because I feel that's out of order because you did this to your dad. You changed your name. And he said, yeah, and that's why I'm telling you it. Because when we changed our name, I didn't ask my dad first, as in my granddad. And he was really upset. And if I'd asked him first and he'd said, no, I would never have done it. And I said, okay, but you did it. And you're basically saying, I can't do it as well. And he said, yeah, but you're taking a name away. You're not adding a name in. Some people care about this stuff.
I'm inclined to agree with your old man here.
Some people really care about legacy. One of the reasons I think I don't care about it so much is when I did that family tree research and I went back hundreds and hundreds of years, all names die. So whatever you do, I guarantee you the Jennings name will die at some point. You've got 2 daughters, so you're not keeping it alive unless they go non-traditional.
Yeah, but see, what we've done, Victoria's surname's Kemp.
Yeah.
Her surname is still Kemp.
Yeah.
So she never changed.
But your daughters
are my surname.
And if they get married, the Jennings name's gone.
We'll see about it.
The point is, I'm saying that over about 200 years, every name dies. So I'm not bothered. I've got to keep the name alive. Why? No one that actually knows me in my life thinks my name's even Michael Brown.
Hang on. Okay.
All names die.
Why?
Because eventually someone has only daughters. Unless tradition changes, names will die. So what's his whole...
So what were you thinking of changing yours to?
I just changed to something that I thought sounded cooler while I'm alive. Once I'm dead, I don't care. Do what you want.
What you think? Are you and Alex thinking of just coming up with just like creating a brand new family name?
So we binned that idea when my dad had that reaction. So we just went with the normal name. But recently we've been thinking about it again. And we're thinking about... And I don't really want to do it now because now I would be changing 2 children's names. And that was done to me and I didn't really like it. But we were thinking about it. It's such a long-winded way of coming back to where we started the conversation on. But... You know, what is interesting about names is they all started for a reason. There will be a reason you have Jennings in your name.
Yeah.
It means something.
Yeah.
So I remember when we were at school in English, they made us write an essay, creative essay based on our names, like a character. So my name, Spencer Owen Carmichael Brown, right? Spencer means a dispenser. That's where it comes from. Obviously it's a first name, so my parents just chose it. Owen is a youthful warrior. It's a Welsh name. He's a youthful warrior. Carmichael Brown, more important because they're surnames, and surnames are given to you for a reason. Brown means either brown complexion or brown haired, right? Brown hair. Carmichael means castle from Scotland. It comes from the Scottish thing. So I made a character who was a youthful warrior from Wales who had a castle and he had brown hair and he dispensed beatings to anyone that tried to get in his castle, right? I have got Michael Owen in my name.
Yeah.
So all names come for a reason, and obviously they have different naming traditions in different countries. So like in, like Iceland, for example, you're either something Dottir and you take the first name of your mother. So, for example, actually, I think they take the father still, they just become Dottir. So, for example, your child, if you had a daughter, would be called Rory Dottir. That was her surname, would be Rory Dottir.
How do you know?
That's how they do it. Like,
why do you know so much about Icelandic names?
So, Gudjonsson, for example.
Yeah.
So, he's the son of Gudjon. Gudjon would be his dad's first name.
Okay.
That's how it's a different naming tradition.
Why do you know this?
Well, because it's interesting.
No, it is interesting, but I have no idea why you know
like,
this.
For example, my son would be called Spencerson, and my daughter would be called Spencer Dottir in Iceland.
Right?
That's how they do it. So no name lasts more than one generation.
Okay.
So everyone's got a different way of doing it.
So were you thinking of just creating a new family name for you and Alex?
So at some point, someone in my family got called Brown because they had brown hair. Right, that's the fact. At some point, someone went, "We're doing the names today. Oh, you could be Brown, you can be whatever."
Yeah.
So Jennings, if you look into it, will mean something.
Yeah, it's a clan in Ireland. I know that.
Okay, so that's where it would have come from. But even then, that clan would have chosen the name Jennings because it has a physical definition, right? So I was like, what would our definition be if we were starting from scratch?
Spencer YouTube.
You were going to call us a surname. Do you know what I came up with? Player.
Spencer.
Because we are players.
What, like player?
No, well, you've got FIFA players as well. Double meaning.
What, like PLAYAH?
Me and Alex are players of games. We love playing games. We're very competitive. We love sport.
This is the most mental I've ever thought you are.
I think my actual name...
This is the most... I very rarely speak to... I don't know what on earth you're banging on about. I'm going to call...
No, like, for example, if you were choosing my name would be Spencer Player. Your name would be Rory Shit Football Opinion.
So I think you should do this.
We thought about it. I don't know. Mate, I don't think my dad will like it.
This is the most wild I've ever known you. Because this is so... Like, even... initially I thought you were going to do something like... woke, and I was like, okay, here we go. You haven't done that. You've just done something nuts.
No, last week when I said how Alex doesn't mind if I'm honest and say, I'm going to the gym because I need to go to the gym, and I say actually I think she likes it because sometimes I'm so annoying to be around. Yeah, this is the sort of thing I'm doing.
Yeah.
Some people just go along with their life.
Yeah, she goes,
have their name.
Spencer, go and do some pull-ups, man. Like.
They don't need to research how did names come about. And I'm
he's banging on about Icelandic surname tradition again.
I think I'm mentally ill.
Yeah. No, this is wild, but I like it. See, this is kind of put me in a position of power on this podcast for the first time ever, because I feel like I'm your Dr. Melfi. This is therapy, but for you explicitly.
Everything I bring up with you, I've already thought to death in my own brain, like over a period of years. But what would your surname be? In all seriousness, if you were going to pick a surname for your family,
Mate, my name is Jennings.
No, I know, but if at some point someone was called Jennings because Jennings means something because they were Jenningsy. So what's your name?
I literally have no idea.
Oh, think about it now.
I've never thought about that in the past.
What sort of person are you?
I'm Rory Jennings.
You're like you know what you'd be? You'd be Rory Londoner. That's what you'd be.
Could be.
You're a very London guy.
Could be.
Or Rory Establishment.
Do you know I knew a kid once when I was young whose name was Joe London, and I thought that was
Great
so
name.
cool.
Well, one of my favourite authors is Jack London.
I thought that was so cool. I remember just meeting him, and I was like, okay, that's unfair.
No, Joe London is a strong name. I love names. I love a good name.
Yeah, no, it's so important. Well, when you're choosing your kids' names as well, it feels like such an important decision because I do feel like it's defining. Like what you call your son or your daughter will have an impact on the personality of your son or your daughter, the prospect of your son or your daughter.
Certainly, if you go off piece with it, certainly. Like I was just telling Saffron before we started, so all my family begin with S, right? We're all S's. So that's because my mum and dad are generally genuine S's that met each other, Steve and Cindy. The only reason my mum is Cindy with an S...
Is she Cindy?
With an S, is because when my granddad named her in the hospital and the person went Cindy, she went with a C and he went, no, an S. Just to be difficult.
Yeah, and they did it.
This is before the Cindy doll existed.
Yeah.
Like, it was also an S. Cindy's always been with a C traditionally.
Yeah, of course.
So they were S's. They met each other. They were like, we've got, with the Kardashians of Essex, let's keep the S going. And but what's crazy is, so we've got Seb, Spencer, Saunders. Saunders probably they're all a little bit at the time unusual names. I'd say
they're all very unusual.
You don't get a lot of. You get more Sebastians now.
Seb is. Heard.
Yeah, now
Saunders and Spencer.
Well, Saunders we're both really the surnames, aren't
they?
They're surnames. So
it's very Harrison Ford.
Yes, yeah. So you're seeing a lot of that. You get a lot of Harrisons now. You got a lot of Jacksons now. It's much more of a common thing. But some of the names they nearly called us. Do you know what I was going to be called?
With S, presumably.
If I was a girl, do you know what I was going to be called? You will never guess this. I could give you 1 million guesses, and you would never guess it. And you will hate this. And I still don't understand what they're thinking. If I was a girl, or one of our brothers was a girl, we were going to be called Chantrice.
Is that a real name?
I mean, I don't think it's a common name in this country. Like, I just... and the other, the name for a boy, you might actually like this, to be fair. Character from the Avengers.
I'm an adult. I don't know the Avengers.
No, the original Avengers.
Okay,
not the Marvel guys.
Oh, right.
Steed. Seb was nearly called Steed.
What, like on a fiery steed?
Yeah, like Steve Malbronx.
Yeah, on Steed. I don't think I've ever met a steed. And if you hadn't have said Malbronx,
if I had a fourth brother who's called Steed, that would be even weirder than Saunders, probably, wouldn't it?
Saunders,
disrespect Saunders. You made it work.
Saunders works the name.
Yeah.
But it's.
But you never meet another one.
I've never met Saunders. No.
Yeah, there's a family in Germany with the surname Carmichael Brown.
Really?
Crazy.
Really?
You're no relation if you made the surname.
No, you made it up. They can't be related. Yeah. No, I think it is very important with the names. It's such a responsibility.
So you never thought about mixing up the surnames then? Am I the only one that thought about that?
No, I didn't mind. Like Victoria, partly because she's freelance, it would have been very complex for her to change her name because she's got a reputation in an industry as Victoria Kemp. If she were to change her surname,
you didn't think about putting them together?
What, me becoming Kemp?
Well, you're becoming Kemp Jennings. Kemp Jennings. Yeah,
no, of course not. No, obviously not.
But your daughters, you're gonna have. So you've said, "I'm the man. I didn't change my name." So if your daughters meet a fella and they go, "I want to change my name to his name," you can't. Have a problem,
they can do it. I certainly wouldn't have a problem if Clementine gets married and decides to become whatever it is.
Maybe they could use Jennings as a middle name for children.
See, I think the world is moving though at such a rate that might not even be the thing then.
Well, you see what Elon Musk tried to call his child. He's like 8th child. Do you know what he tried to call it?
What?
I mean, I don't even know how you say it. It was like X75-22 ?
He's off his rocker, him.
Well, he is. He's actually
off his rocker though. Like batshit.
He's not normal. He might be an alien. There's a chance.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that believe that.
So mental.
He's trying to get us back to space, that's for sure. Or back to space, into space. Depends what you believe.
Yeah, it's tricky. I had a dilemma.
Oh yeah?
I did.
A dad dilemma?
A dad dilemma.
Fill me in.
Well, do you lie to your children?
all the time.
Like lie, like actually,
well, not like a spiteful
avert
lie.
lying.
We've got a thing we do, which is we call it tricking. So, like, for example, if I said to him, I just saw Father Christmas outside or whatever, he'd be like, we call it tricking. It becomes a fib / lie.
Yeah, we got rank for that.
When the other person says, "Are you tricking me?"
Yeah, you have to say yes.
Yeah, exactly. If you go, "No, I'm not tricking you," and you are, that makes it a lie.
No, it's so difficult, that balancing act, I find. Yeah, do you know, I found myself sort of telling a story to Clementine. I was like telling her this story, and she was ultimately going to go up in a hot air balloon, and I was going to let it out the window, and she was going to sort of go. I ended up going down like a rabbit hole of this story, and I was just like, I must be terrifying the life out of this kid because of where it was going. It was like, it was just like making no sense to me. Have you ever done that? Have you ever like embarked on a story?
But I mean, like, got a bit dark? Or?
Got a bit dark.
Right, okay.
Yeah, it got a bit dark, and then I didn't know what I was doing, and I found myself just sort of telling lie after lie after lie in this story, and I was just like, I don't know if I can ever do bedtime again after this. It was like,
I think especially with the age that Clementine is, like they're just so smart, and they do know. They do know, and you're like even my oldest is he's sort of like, that's not true, is it? And it's a weird one because a great example is, hopefully he doesn't watch this podcast. So he thinks Spider-Man is real because we got a Spider-Man to come to his party.
Of course you did, yeah.
But he'll know, for example, that he would have known, for example, that Captain America isn't real, for example, right? But then the Spider-Man thing turned everything on its head. So he also went and met a Paw Patrol experience and met someone dressed as Chase. So he thinks now Chase and Spider-Man are real because he's basically met Spider-Man twice, actually. Different Spider-Man. But so he'll be like, he loves Sonic. He's obsessed with Sonic right now. So he's like, is Sonic real, Dad? I'm like, what do you think? He's like, I don't think he's real, but Spider-Man is real.
Because I met him.
So Sonic could be real? And I'm like, could be, mate. I said, my interpretation is that Sonic is like a hedgehog. He doesn't look like normal hedgehogs, does he? So if he's real, he must be like an alien hedgehog because our hedgehogs don't look like that. He's like, yeah, I see what you mean. But Spider-Man's just a man who got bit by a spider. That could be real.
Yeah.
So like,
and also the visual, like the fact that he's met.
I don't come down and I try and avoid saying, that's true, that's fake, that's real. I just sort of let him
breathe, let it breathe and let him decide. Yeah. No, I found myself at one point. I was sort of telling Clementine, she started talking about like lions. What would you do if a lion came into the show? And obviously, I'm the dad. I'm like, I'll kill that lion. I'll smash that lion to bits, mate. That lion won't even dare. And then I find myself kind of going, oh my God.
What if a lion comes in?
Yeah, but also a little bit like, am I being too violent here? Like, what would you do if a lion came in? I'll smash that lion to bits, I'm going. You don't need to worry about that. Do you know what else she loves to watch? She's like obsessed with nature. So she has to do this thing. She's doing her class expert. So class expert means that for one day she will go into school and she will give a talk to her class on what she is she's deemed to be an expert on. What she's an expert on is like wildlife, nature, animals. So she'll take in a cuddly toy that is a lion and she'll go, this is a lion, he lives here, he'll live to this age, he eats this, and then she'll give a talk. I found myself like talking to her about like how the animals eat and prey and all that. And it's all quite violent.
It's a tricky one.
It's all quite violent.
Yeah, because I've been very upfront because I'm really into like what I eat and stuff. So we'll talk about, we call it leopard food and we call it walrus food. Yeah. Right? No disrespect to the walruses, I'm not body shaming you out there. But basically, if you can't be too careful, the walruses will come for me, basically, if food's bad for you, if it's like sort of food you'd have as a treat, it's walrus food. If it's leopard food, it's good. So it's like meat and vegetables and like stuff that makes you a leopard, fast and strong or whatever. So what I've been able to do is he actually now wants to know if something's leopard food or walrus food, and he knows he can eat walrus food. And he locked into
leopard, presumably.
Yeah, he knows he shouldn't eat too much walrus food. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we're not letting him have any. But you do that because obviously those animals are what they represent. So then you'll be like, we talk about, say, like a chicken. So in his head, he's got two versions of a chicken. He's got the chicken, the animal that goes, lives on a farm, and then the thing that's on my plate. And sometimes I'm like, does he realise that they're the same thing, i.e. that was killed so he can eat it? And you just think, when did I start figuring that stuff out? When did that stuff get explained to me?
All that
it's
stuff
quite brutal.
Is so hard. It's so hard. Like, I even find it hard. Like, I'm quite scared of dogs. Like, I love animals. I love all animals. Like, I'm a true animal. I prefer animals to people most of the time. But I'm a bit wary of dogs. Like,
All dogs.
in a really respectful way. Like, I'd never pat a stranger's dog.
Yeah. It's a good way, it's a good idea.
Until I know the owner, or if I speak to the owner, can I say hello to your dog?
Yeah.
I'm not just going to randomly chat to a dog.
I hate when people
my head
do
off,
that.
man.
People that do that are idiots. Like, I've grown up with dogs. I've got a dog. Love dogs. But I still don't go up to a stranger's dog, ever.
What are you doing? Like,
Stupid.
It bite you, man.
You do that with their kids, would you? Hello.
Yeah. Like, I think it's ridiculous. Also, they're all a bit unpredictable, and they don't know you from Adam, so they might just bite you.
Exactly.
So anyway, I'm quite aware of dogs, despite loving them, and like keep my distance. I don't really want Clementine to be scared of dogs, but I need her to be.
Yeah.
But she is naturally quite scared, so I have to try and do this whole. There's nothing to be scared of. You're absolutely fine.
No, you're shitting yourself.
I'm I'm absolutely terrified. Like, absolutely terrified. But it's such a hard thing to do, isn't it?
It's also hard, like, you know, my mum and dad have got a cockapoo. Cockapoos are like, you know, they're really
docile,
loving.
aren't they? Yeah.
They're maybe a bit overly attentive and like friendly sometimes, a bit boisterous, but they're never going to do anything wrong, basically. Not on purpose. But say you're a kid that's been grown up around a Labrador or a cockapoo or anything like that, you need to get into their head that, like my dog, for example, is a Shiba, are very different types of dogs, and they don't want to be approached really, like unless they know you or you let them come to you.
Shibas have it in them to be.
Shibas are genetically the closest to the wolf, 99.9% wolf, and he acts like it.
Does he? Has he got some front? Yeah.
They're very cat-like. So in the house, sleep for 18 hours a day, mind their own business, groom themselves. They'll come to you when they want to get stroked. You know, you don't. They're not interested really. With me and Alex, he's quite affectionate, but other people not so much. He also nearly got killed by a couple of pit bulls, and it changed his whole life. Yeah, ever since then.
Mate, do you know why I don't have a dog? Because I'm so scared of that happening. Like walking a dog, and it's some other lunatic Dalmatian or whatever they call Doberman comes flying over, starts barking.
It's the bullies. It's the bullies, the XL bullies and the pit bulls you want to be aware of. South London.
Were you there?
I wasn't there, but Alex was there. Streatham, two of them off a lead, came and literally tried to kill him. And you got photos of it. They'd shave all his hair. He had like puncture wounds there. They were trained to kill dogs.
Mate, it must have been
and
so
the owners didn't do anything. The owners just watched.
Did they get arrested? Is there a...
No, do you know what happened? This is actually pretty scary. So what happened is, Al was, you know, she loves our dog, but she's not like a massive dog. She wouldn't go in and like grab an angry dog or anything.
No, because she's not mental.
So he's basically getting killed. Two dogs going for his neck, trying to kill him.
Is he? And can he fight back? Is he quite tough?
These both of them were double the size of him.
Right.
He would fight back, but he couldn't win.
Yeah.
So this geezer comes from nowhere because the owners of those dogs were just walking, not even there. This old boy comes from nowhere and sticks his hand in the middle of it all and manages to get Joey free. So Joey gets off his harness and runs off. So that he could have died a second time from running off. He runs off. He's bleeding everywhere, literally in bits.
Oh, God.
And Alex then, you know, it worked out all right in the end. But Alex then, in her sort of fit of drama, gets in this stranger's car to try and find Joey because Joey's ran into a Streatham High Road. One of the big longest, massive
this is
roads.
horrific.
So Joey's dodging cars on Streatham High Road and he's like panicking for his life. And they're going around looking for him. They've lost sight of him. It took them 20 minutes. They find him down the alleyways. They're shivering, bleeding, like terrible, right? So obviously I was away at the time. I was at the FIFA Club World Cup, and he gets looked after. He gets fixed. He has all his hair shaved for a few months and all that sort of thing. But we obviously send a report in because, you know, straight away it's horrible to say, but those dogs should be put down. That's the normal punishment, right? That's what happens if that happens. And also the owners should get severely punished.
Yeah, the owners
shouldn't be off a lead.
They're the ones who need to take the responsibility.
So we report it to the police. We find this Facebook group that had been set up about this person and those dogs. No one wanted to put it, because what happened is exactly what happened to us. You put it through the police come round, just so you know, this family are a known family. They are, shall we say, unsavable. If you report them, your name is on the report. So you can report them, dogs will probably get put down, they'll get maybe trouble, but they'll know who you are and they'll know where you live.
Always suggesting not
and I was
to
like, well, why don't you just not tell them where we are and where we live then? It seems like an easy solution. No, can't do that, I'm afraid. So we didn't do it because we didn't want other people to turn up at our house, you know.
That's appalling, mate.
Yeah, so those dogs could still be loose.
Yeah, that's the worst. People. That is painful.
But ever since then, Shibas are aloof anyway, and they don't really want to be mates with other dogs anyway. But he did have other dog friends. He did used to stay with a lady that used to look after him for us when we were away with loads of other dogs and have no problem. Ever since then, he's not interested. If you come near him and you're another dog, he's not having it.
Oh, mate, that's a horrific story.
Yeah.
That really is awful. See, then this is why I encourage Clementine to be aware.
Yeah. And the problem with Joey is not Joey. He will never go up to a stranger. it's different if you're in their house maybe, but if you're loose, he doesn't come off a lead, he never does, because those dogs don't anyway. He'll never go up to look at another dog. He'll never go to
Not
them.
interested.
It's when they come to him. So my view is like, you're the problem.
Keep your dog away
exactly.
from mine.
Keep your dog on a lead. My dog won't
If I
push your
came in
bottom.
your house, would he get on the front foot
No,
against me?
absolutely fine. If you're in our house, he's fine. You know, it's like a bit like a vampire. Once you invite them in, they're fine.
No drama.
Yeah. That's actually opposite of a vampire. Once you invite them in, you're fucked.
Yeah, I just wouldn't fight with a vampire in my house or their house.
But with Joey, he's on board with you. The issue in our house is the kids or other people's kids, because if they don't know,
They get a bit grippy.
and he just doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. Did you see that clip that went round? There was a clip that I saw which really upset me. It seemed to be going viral upon my timeline anyway. It was a very nice dog, but a killer. Looked like a handsome dog and looked like he was in a good mood. This little toddler just kept walking up to him and whacking the dog with a bottle, like a plastic bottle, probably about 10 times, until the dog lost its temper and went for the kid. The kid kind of scurried off and nothing actually happened. But it was saying, keep your toddlers under control for this precise
Yeah,
reason.
I've not seen it.
It seemed to be very prominent. And it just made me think, there were an abundance of adults around at the time, and not one encouraged the kid to not whack the dog.
I think of the Kurt Zuma clip with the cat.
Oh, that
Remember that?
bastard.
Like, there's people, I don't understand anyone that abuses anyone or anything.
When he
but
done his
animals,
cruise shot.
defenseless animals, it's like, I'm not saying it's worse than humans, but like some of the stuff people do to animals is so horrendous,
No,
man.
it's horrific.
You've got to have some serious skeletons in your closet or ghosts in your head if you're going to want to do that to the animal.
I'd kill them.
Yeah, I hate it. I absolutely hate
I
it.
would kill them.
Yeah, there's a lot of, unfortunately, there's a lot of not very nice people out there.
Painful.
Yeah.
And this is the world that we're bringing our children into.
Well, this goes back to that point. When I was in that place and I wasn't sure about kids, my view was it's quite egocentric to have kids. It's all about me. My genes must exist. It's if you're suffering from a lack of purpose, which I was at the time. It's funny because I still believe this to be true, but I believe it to be an overwhelmingly good thing rather than an overwhelmingly bad thing like I did at the time. And that says everything to my mindset at the time. He's like, oh, so you've got no purpose. What? So you just create one, do you? So you just don't know what to do with your life. So you just have a kid because then suddenly you've got something to do. Yeah. That's what I did and it worked.
Yeah.
And I'm buzzing about it. Like, so
also,
it does work.
surely the counter argument to that would be you need good people to have children. Like good, honourable, moral people need to reproduce.
Well, Chappell Roan wouldn't exist if her parents hadn't done it. Now, I'm not saying that means you should have kids, but we need people that want to be parents.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe in it, going back to Elon Musk, who goes out there and says that we've got an underpopulation problem. I don't believe that to be true. I don't think the world has an underpopulation problem at all. I think he's just a billionaire that wants to make more workers. And that's why he says those comments. And you can do a whole pod on how I feel about billionaires. But I do believe that in certain cultures, there is a movement away from the larger family and the village like it takes to raise a child, and families are getting smaller and more independent and isolated, which is creating all kinds of mental health problems. But the solution probably is, if the economy allows for it, if the country allows for it, because there's enough space and all these things, more kids is probably one of the best things you can do to save the world, if the world can support it.
There we go.
Because
have children to save the world.
Potentially.
I agree.
Or maybe to save yourself.
Save yourself, yeah.
Maybe to save yourself, Chappell. If you're
Certainly
watching.
agree with that.
Chappell Roan, write a song about it. Not doing anything else, are you? Chappell Roan, get on the pod. Stop writing your little pop songs. Do something with your life. Come and talk to some internet
I've
dads.
got no idea who you are, Chappell Roan, but you are welcome here. I'll look you up after this.
And we'll probably make you want kids even less.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt. I can honestly say this has been the most wild episode we've ever done.
Do you think?
Yeah.
We're just getting started,
That was
mate.
bonkers. Like, that was actually bonkers. I think anybody that's listened to this for the entirety of the episode won't know what day it is now. You set them on a spin, Spence.
I just need to know whether I need to change my name or not, or whether my dad will let me.
That was easy.
Dad, if you're watching, let us know in the comments below. Can I change my name?
Thank you so much to everybody for watching Internet Dads. Please do us a favour before you go. Please click that subscribe button right now. Really does help us out, and we would love to welcome you into this community. Thank you so much to everybody listening upon their podcast platforms. Yes. We also hugely appreciate that. Please leave us a review, and we'll see you all on the next episode of Internet Dads.